I want to talk about a sickness which became a pandemic in America and in the entire world: diabetes. Diabetes is called the sickness of fats. It's stimulated specifically by fats and other factors, stress and so on and so forth. But as you can see here, these are elements that can create diabetes. You know, we will get explosion of new cases. Diabetes is doubling within 25 years. Can you imagine doubling in the following 25 years? Over 300 million people on the planet Earth are suffering of diabetes. Here you have countries. If you look over the countries, from 2000 to 13 is not 30. It's 2000 to 2030. Antigua de Barbuda, 3,000 to from 3,000 almost double to 5,000. Argentina, almost 1.5 million to almost 2 million and a half in Argentina, and only in 13 years. The number of diabetes casualties or cases. Bahamas, 12,000 to 26,000. Barbados, 11,000 to 22,000. Belize, 5,000 to 15,000. Bolivia, 207 to over 500,000. Brazil, 4.5 million to 11.3 million diabetes. And I can continue. Canada, 2 million from 2000 to 2013 is 3.5 million in the following. Chile, 500,000, and then almost, more than 1 million. Colombia, 883, and now you have almost tripled, more than tripled, 2.5 million. Costa Rica, 76,000 and 237. Cuba, 408, 500,000, and then you have almost 900,000. Dominican Republic, Dominica, 3,000 to 4,000. Dominican Republic, 245 to 594. Now, Ecuador, 341, 921. El Salvador, 103 to 320. Grenada, 4,700. Guatemala, 1,039 to go on and on and on. And you see Guyana, Haiti, Honduras, Jamaica, and I can go on and on and on. Mexico, you have double in Mexico, 2,000.1, and you have 6.1. Nicaragua, 68 to 300,000. Panama, it's amazing when you look to the numbers. Peru, this is diabetes. So when you look to Suriname, 9,000. Trinidad, Tobago, United States of America, 17.7, almost 18 million, and the following is 30 million.3. Uruguay, 154,224. Venezuela, 583, 1.6 million. Total 33,016, so on and so forth, to 66680. So it's doubling. Now, to have a clear figure, so what you have here is that South America plus the rest of the world equals 50% with United States. So United States in one side has the number of diabetics equaling the other half of the world. This is amazing. And that tells you it's what is all about. And I can come with some graphics. Sugar consumption. When you look to the sugar consumption here, you can look to Japan, Italy, Spain, Portugal, Finland, Malaysia, so on and so forth, all these, and United States. United States is here, you see? United States is here, and the less sugar you have, the less casualties of diabetes you have. Now here is another very interesting percentage of obese adult population, because obesity produces or induces diabetes as well. You can see in all the red, the orange part, these are the states that have a highest rate of obesity. in the United States and Canada as well. So when we talk about what is diabetes, what is basically diabetes, and we talk about diabetes type 1 and diabetes type 2. I would like to talk about diabetes type 2 first. Has 90% of all diabetics consequence of lifestyle. So when we talk about diabetes type 2, we talk about the impact of lifestyle upon upon the life of the individual. So 90% of all diabetics get diabetes because of why? Because of what? Because of their lifestyle. Consequence of their lifestyle. People say, well, I don't have, my body doesn't create enough insulin. It's not insulin shortage, it's insulin blockage. And this is what I have to state, to dwell a little bit and to make you understand that diabetes is such a sickness that creates, enshrouds the genes, the receptors that are at the pancreas level, and those genes do not react properly. So what's happening is, when insulin has to be generated based on the brain command and correlated with the body, the genes are covered in fats and they don't react. So then, because you don't kick in insulin, you don't get the glucose. You don't get the glucose. You don't get the glucose. The brain says, I'm hungry. And the body says, I'm hungry. So then you have an increased appetite of food and so forth. But I will discuss. So it's not about I don't have enough insulin. No. Pancreas, in the type of diabetes, produces insulin, but the receptors are not releasing the insulin. That's the problem. So it's not insulin shortage, it's insulin blockage. That's why doctors don't tell that to the patients, and that's why you have to take care of it. Now, when we talk about diabetes type 1, it's either inherited from parents or stuff like that, which is only 5 to 10% of the diabetics. But we are talking not about children or juvenile diabetes, which is diabetes type 1. We talk about the diabetes that creates insulin dependence. How diabetes work, as I said, I explained a little bit about that. What is the fuel of the body? Glucose. Glucose is the fuel of the body. So you have glucose, you run the car. You don't have the glucose, you don't run the car. So here is where pancreas creates a problem. So the receptors, the genes that are receptors at the level of pancreas are completely shut down, and they don't communicate with the rest of the factors. You know, receptors should execute commands. The problem is that the genes are not in the position to receive any command. That's the problem. So in that case scenario, you are short of glucose, of the food that is produced as a final product of your intake food, in a sense. Now, molecular construction of glucose, hydrogen, carbon, and oxygen. So what's going on is when you don't have these glucose, you don't have these three elements which are vital for life, yes? Hydrogen, carbon, and oxygen, in a sense. So they form a molecular structure, and it's very, very important. So now, when you look to the type of glycemic loads versus glycemic index, blood glucose, you know, milligram DL, and then you have minutes. So you have the typical diabetes is with green. When you see the green line spiking up, that's the classical type of diabetes, when glycemia goes up and down and up and down. Then ideal type of perception of the body is this one. This is the ideal type, when the glycemia doesn't spike when you eat sweets. If you don't have diabetes, the glucose doesn't go like, glycemia doesn't go like that. You know, it keeps a pretty interesting line and comes down immediately. So in between 0 minutes and 180 minutes, glycemia has to come back to the normal level. But now when you have diabetes, typical, it goes up, and then immediately after 1 hour and 80 minutes, 180 minutes basically, it goes down. So it goes up and down, which is not very good, because then you can create a lot of problems. And hypoglycemic is the worst one with the purple. This is when people are in a very bad situation with their diabetes stage, in a sense. Now, glycemic loads versus glycemic index. Glycemic index refers to the rise of blood sugar after ingesting a serving of a food that provides 50 grams of carbohydrate. Glycemic load is calculated by multiplying the GI as a decimal time the amount of carbohydrate in the actual serving of food. Primary determinants of glycemic load: amount of carbohydrate, portion size, availability of carbohydrates, solubility, digestibility, extent of processing, type of processing. So this is basically what we have here, in a sense. So these are the elements that determine the glycemic load in our intake. Now, I want to share with you a few type of foods that may trigger this. So you look to the stress factor, of the foods upon the human body. When you look to the GI and GL, and you look to the insulin stress, this is what I would like to overemphasize, insulin stress. So if you have carrots cooked, half a cup, it's low insulin, yes? Then peach fresh, 1 large, it's low level. Watermelon, even though it has a lot of sugar, yes, watermelon has a lot of sugar, yeah, the stress level of insulin is low. So when you look to fruits and vegetables, they will, even though you have to deal with fruits, the fruits will not stimulate. The fruits will not stimulate the sugar in the blood if they are natural fruits, evidently. Baked potato medium, 93-14. Brown rice cooked doesn't have any impact upon insulin stress. Spaghetti white cooked, look at the high impact. When you start to discuss about refined foods, this is spaghetti white cooked, refined, you have a high level of stress insulin, so the pancreas has to produce a lot. Now, I want to ask you something. Do you know how much refined food we consume in America? It's a lot. I mean, look at every restaurant, every fast food store, almost even in a store, in a grocery stores, everything is white and is sweet. Is that true? Almost every element of almost every type of food has sugar in it. Why? Why? Because sugar preserves. It's like put as much sugar and will keep like a salt. But if you put salt in all the foods, people will not eat it. But if you put sugar, it's okay. So now we got accustomed in the United States, in North America, basically in all the civilized countries, we got accustomed in North America that we to be accustomed with the sweets. So everybody likes sweet. Yeah. The more sweet we eat, guess what? The more we increase the pleasure and the appetite for sweets. And kids, that's why you have an overweight rate of in the world of children, because they drink a lot of sodas, Coca-Cola and so on and so forth, a lot of sugar. I mean, as I said in the previous nights, Coca-Cola has over between 12 and 15 teaspoons of sugar. So basically you are drinking liquid sugar. When you drink liquid sugar, you absolutely force the pancreas in such a magnitude to produce insulin. And something else, do you know that every time the pancreas produces insulin, you get older? That's one of the last discoveries of the scientists, that every time when pancreas produces insulin secretion, you get older. Anytime when pancreas does this effort, you start to get older and older and older and older. So that's why when we should not take snacks in between the meals. Is that true? We don't take snacks because we have principles. We have to eat now, leave a space between 5 and 6 hours, if it's possible, in the next meal. make sure the stomach is resting properly, and then you have a gradual and normal, and pancreas knows to work like a machine. Now, when you take a snack now, you take a cake now, you take a this now, you take a piece of that now, the pancreas is totally, it's messed up. It says, man, when do you stop? So pancreas processes insulin on the expense of your health up to 1 day. So very, very important for you to understand that. That's why, let me go farther a little bit. Here we talk about white flour, refined flour, coarse white flour, cracked wheat, and so on and so forth. When you have products and you eat from all wheat, look what is the perception of the blood sugar, the glucose in the glycemia in the blood. It is unbelievable. So when you have integral or whole wheat, that's the best. When you go above refined, white pastry, white rice, white, everything is white, makes you your pancreas and your glycemia to go high. So the dark you eat, dark rice, dark beans, dark this, dark that, the more fiber, the more good quality food you take. So that's a very, very, I would say, very important for you to understand. Now, when we talk a little bit about biliary system, this is something that we have to understand. When we eat fats, because diabetes has something, now we talk about sugar, but I would like to talk about fats as well. Have you ever thought why when people eat in the evening, late meals, and in America is accustomed, people have the breakfast is a coffee, a donut, and a cigarette if it's necessary. And then you have a brunch, lunch, whatever, something small, and when you go home, and now it's my time, I have to eat. So when we get to that point, my friends, when we go to those points, then I think that it's already bad. Yeah, the best meal of the day should be in the morning. The breakfast should be the most consistent meal of the day. And then you have a lunch after 5-6 hours. And in the evening, if you want to take an apple or an orange juice or something very light, that would be fantastic. Now, what's happened if we reverse things? You go eat a big barbecue. I have my neighbors in California. They like to eat barbecue. I mean, 4,000 or 5,000 calories on a barbecue. They put a beef there, boof. And that is in the night. I see them, we talk, how are you doing? And they don't know, they know that I am a vegetarian, my family as well. And they say, how can you eat these fruits and vegetables? I said, well, I'm okay. I had probably over 10 tons of soil, of clay, bumped in front of my house because I wanted to enrich my garden. Because I do gardening in my home, And they looked over the windows and they saw me from the morning to the evening working with my wheelbarrow. I says, you're not tired? I said, no. What do you eat? I said, fruits and vegetables and grains. He said, what? I mean, I don't believe it. You don't have power. If you don't eat meat, you don't have strength. You don't have power. I said, sir, that's me. My wife was born vegetarian. My kids are the 3rd, 4th generation of vegetarianism and stuff like that. So that's the concept. Now I want to discuss with you a little bit what's happened when you eat in the evening. Guess what? You dream an entire book of Revelation, yes? When you eat in the evening, you have bad dreams because of the drinking. And you swim in bed. People thought that they swim only in the swimming pool. No, you swim in bed. What's happened? You put yourself on the belly. Most of the people that are eating in the evening, it's statistically, they sleep on his belly. Why? Because by pressuring the stomach helps digestion. So then, once in 5-10 minutes, you change the position. He says, man, I could not really sleep last night. I switched from one side of the bed to the other side of the bed. You know why? And you wake up every 5-10 minutes. Because while digestion is going on, the pancreas secretes, in the process of digestion, insulin has to be released at the order or the command of the brain every 5-10 minutes, depends. When it is a rule, you cannot be sleeping when the insulin is released. So the brain wakes you up. The brain wakes you up every 5-10 minutes and you switch your position. That's why once in 5-10 minutes when you eat a lot in the evening, you wake up because the brain wakes you up. You don't have rest because the insulin must be released in order to facilitate the digestion. In the morning, when you wake up finally, you are more tired than you were when you went to sleep. Is that true?
Mm-hmm.
That's the reality. That's the reality. And that's why it's important for you cut off the meal in the evening, and you will see remarkable changes. I'm not putting you to eat green grass now and all these changes, dramatic changes, but at least cut the meal in the evening. Cut the fats. Don't take snacks. Drink a lot of water. Do 20 minutes walking after every meal you take, and you will increase dramatically. This is cheap stuff that I'm giving you. I'm not talking to go to the grocery store in the organic section and buy the most expensive things. No. I'm asking you a few principles. Cut the meal in the evening. Yes, cut the meal in the evening. Reduce the fats. Reduce the sugar. Don't take snacks. Drink a lot of water. And do a 20 minutes walk. Don't sit on the telephone on the couch after you eat. You ate. Take your cell phone with you and go for 20 minutes for a walk. And you will find tremendous changes. If you go to the next level of health, evidently I have many other recommendations as well in that regard. It is very, very important to cut the fats and to cut the sugars to avoid diabetes. Because diabetes, it's very, very important. Now, let me go a little bit farther. What are the warning signs of diabetes? Excessive thirst, excessive urination, and excessive appetite. These are the three indicators when people are already on that side of diabetes, in a sense, yes? Now, what is very, very bad is, my dear friends, is that excessive thirst, excessive urination, we will go to consequences as well. Diabetes has tremendous consequences as well. When you go to the point is, the saddest thing is that guess what? 1 out of 2 people, they don't know they have diabetes. This is very, very sad. So they don't take measures for themselves. They don't know that they have diabetes. But diabetes doesn't hurt until you are gone or collapse. So it's very, very important. Now, complications. Eye problems. You have a shortage of sight. Then you have kidney damage. And then you have heart disease and stroke. These are complications. So I urge you that to consider this when you have that in your life. Then you have to look for sexual impotence, ulcerative sores, inflammations, amputations. The wounds are not infections. The wounds are not healing, and you have to cut the leg and this and that. Breast and uterine cancers. So diabetes comes with all these packages of things that I think that is very, very, very important for us to know. It is important. What causes non-insulin dependent diabetes? Western diet and lifestyle, as we discussed up to this point. You have these, you go to almost every restaurant, you find eggs, and you have fried bacon and all these. I want to say that fried things, it's very damaging because oil or any fat exposed to thermal changes, will increase the temperature and change the chemistry of the oil or the fats, and will produce something that is called acrolein. Acrolein, it is a proved 110%. It's a cancer stimulant and makes the cells of your body to rebel against your own body. So when you eat a lot of fried things, everything that is fried, that will poison your body with this chemical compound element called acrolein. And acrolein will stimulate cell cancers developing in your body. Now, we will talk about cancer in another evening, but what is very important, cut off frying. Frying is very, very bad. It doesn't matter, you fry an egg, you fry meat, you fry vegetables, you fry fruits, you fry bread, you fry everything. I'm not talking about toasting. Toasted bread is not frying. Yes, everybody understands that. I'm talking about the composition of oils, even though you don't have, every fat that is a natural product or even animal trans fats exposed to thermal exposure will change the chemistry of that something and will produce acrolein in that substance, and you don't want to have that. So the type of calories. Now we talked a little bit about calories. What do you think? How many calories should we eat, or how much a meal like this, a breakfast? That's called a breakfast, or you have 3 eggs, bacon, fried potatoes, chips, stuff like that. You have other sweets afterwards. So almost every dish of that you go to pay in IHOP or Denny's or who knows, whatever, all these restaurants, they will give you will leave the table with at least, and I'm a gentle man, 1,500 to 2,000 calories, if not more. But if you add an ice cream, if you add a sweet this, sweet that, you leave the table with 2,500, even 3,000 calories. And this is standard for almost every restaurant in North America, because you have fried things. For instance, a boiled potato may have up to 250 calories. A fry will reach the top to 800 calories. Just because you fry the same thing, you have a baked potato, 250 calories. When you start to fry that potato, you jump over 800 calories. So everything that is fried, thermically processed in combination with the fats, will blow up your calories intake. Yeah, so it is really ugly in that respect. So I would like, heredity is not destiny. Those who have diabetes, because we talked a little bit about diabetes type 1, some people may inherit a tendency for diabetes because my father or my mother was diabetic. Yes? Now, but if you have a correct lifestyle, you cannot pull the trigger. Yes? You cannot, you keep diabetes away from you. So, what is the problem? What is the problem with diabetes? First of all, obesity and excess of fats. This is when people get overweight, there is a huge factor of risk factor for diabetes. Yes or no? That's principle number one. Number 2, sedentary lifestyle. We call that in America what? Couch potato. So then, too many calories and too little exercise. People are making a car for people in our country. It's a house. In the car, people talk on the phone, arrange their businesses. In the car, they say, I love you or I hate you. In the car, they take their snack, they take their breakfast, they take their this. They spend 2 hours in the traffic at least per day. So car is more familiar to the human individuals than the house. In the home, they come, take a shower, move, go to bed, and that's it. Is that true? Yes or no? Yes. So, and there is no physical exercise in our country. Sedentarism, lack of physical exercise, it is very, very bad for us in a sense. So I urge you to believe that is very important. So overweight, sedentary lifestyle, and the report between the calories and the physical exercise, it's I'm burning 1,600 calories per day. That's my when I don't do anything. So I'm an endomorph. I don't burn a lot. Some people burn more, but you have to know exactly how much your body burns. What you have to understand that once in 10 years, your metabolism, the older we get, the lower burning exposure we have in our body. 10%. Every 10 years, we decrease the burning appetite. Attitude of our body. So, meaning that the older we become, we should eat more or less.
Less.
Less. That's the reality.
More moving. Less eating.
This is something that it's very important. Calories consumed from different beverage by U.S. adults up to age of 19. This is a statistic from 1965 to 2002. National Food Consumption Survey 1965, 1977, 78. So look at the exposure, the spiking of the juices from 1995. You go to you have you cannot see very well, but you have the white milk. This is the white milk, and that generates diabetes. So in 1965, that was the spiking, and 97.7 milk is decreasing.
Whole fat.
Whole fat, yeah, because they were not pulling out the fats at that time. Then you have the green fruit juice. You see, the green is the fruit juice. How much intake? And then red is Coca-Cola. And now Coca-Cola in 2002 is like that, and we are in 2013 now. So the more sugar we drink or eat, the more exposed we are to diabetes. So how can we disarm diabetes, basically? There are people that are going to eat at the same restaurant until they get 350 pounds. And then they say, okay, I am 350 pounds, you are obliged to give me for free. But poor man, he doesn't know that at the position of 350 pounds, you don't have much, in your resources physically and your health. So they know that they will give you for free for just a little bit, in a sense. So disarming diabetes, eat a low-fat diet. Cut the oils, cut the meat, cut the fats, animal fats. This is very, very important. And now you may say, well, what should I replace it? You replace it with this. Do you like this? This is the food that people should eat. Eat a high fiber diet. This is very, very important to have a high fiber diet. This is what will help you. And somebody says, well, if I eat only this, I'm starving. No, you have to have these too. Grains, seeds, and all this is important for us to have. But this will give you energy, will give you strength, so you combine that with this. So then you do exercise like this man. The guy did so much, he's not tired because of exercise, he's tired of vodka. So when we talk about exercise, we have to do really exercise. Then achieve the healthy weight. This is another point, yes? We have to realize that obesity becomes a pandemic in the entire world. Obesity becomes a pandemic in the entire world. And that's the reality. Unfortunately, United States leads the entire world in terms of overweight and obesity. As you can see, and this here's a little motorcycle having a little. When you go to the you see when you look to go to Walmart, people or any grocery store, everybody looks to the closest parking spot to the entry. Yes, to walk is less possible. So that's we have less and less aptitude or desire to what?
Walk.
To walk. Now, when we look to the size, overweight, so let's see here some figures. If normal weight, if you are over 18.5 to 24.9, then obese when you have 30 to 34.9. And then obese class 2, when you have 35 to 39 overweight pounds. And then you have morbidity obese when you have 40 pounds or more. By the grace of God, I've been in a situation where I had 238 pounds, and 3 years ago, and probably I had 68 pounds in top of what I should have, and I was, over 40 pounds, which is a morbidity, obesity, which was very, very, very bad. I had the suit size was 51, 50, 52, and now I'm in 42. So I got down very, very much, and I feel very comfortable by the grace of God. I praise the Lord for the light of the health. I praise the Lord for health and everything that He gives to us, in a sense. What is very bad is that in the life of the kids, obesity strikes. A lot of children that are overweight, and this is happening more and more and more in our country, and it is obvious. Now here is Mississippi, is with a 31.6% is the highest rate of obesity. Here you have the figures per obese per adult population. So Mississippi is the headline, but you do have pretty close numbers in all our states if you look to that. So here we have a very important percentage overweight and obesity. In 1981, I took from 1961, 1970, 1975, 1980, 1985, 1990, 1995, 2000, and we're going on and on. This is a sad reality. Drink Coke, get fat. This was one of the advertisements they were making for Coke. So indeed, sugars, all these, you see all these elements, everything has sugar in. Everything has sugar in, which is very, very bad. I mean, effectively aggresses the liver, the pancreas, the entire body suffers under jurisdiction of these drinks. It's market. Now, I have something very interesting for you. Somebody who cannot stop drinking sweets, Coke, or eating a lot, fat stuff. Here is the prescription. One prescription for reducing healthcare cost. It's for Euro% the fridge. Take a look and put in the fridge. You know what you can say. So, yeah, that's what I suggest. It's a permanent lifestyle change. This is very, very important. The Bible says that a prudent a prudent person foresees the danger ahead, and takes precaution. The simpleton goes blindly and suffers the consequences. So let us tonight be people of vision, people that really go over that and really have the concept of foresee and take precautions not to reach those stages of diabetes, because it's not pleasant for anyone. Is that true? So this is a book of Proverbs, chapter 27, verse 12. A prudent person foresees the danger ahead and takes precautions. The simpleton goes blindly and suffers the consequences. May the Lord Jesus Christ and God Himself, the Father, to bless you tonight. I thank you very, very much for being here, and I hope that you had a pretty kind of a clear understanding about that, why diabetes becomes a pandemic.